Also. Mr. Speaker, I take this House very seriously and I raise understanding order number 121. Mr. Speaker, number 121 says disorderly conduct, that a senator is disorderly in this, if the senator knowingly raises a false point of order. Mr. Speaker, Senator Gloria rose in this House.
Eddie, just take your seat. Just take your seat first. Please.
Mr. Speaker.
Just yield, please. Senator Eddie, in the same breath as you're reading the standing orders, you can only stand on a point of order to call to order a senator who is contributing. As you speak, Senator Siengo is on her feet. Unless your point of order is directed to her, you're out of order. Kindly proceed to conclude your contributions.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mine was to say finally, Mr. Speaker, whenever there is any dispute or disagreement over any issue of national importance, it is important that police are restrained. We cannot allow police to continue pressuring Kenyans who are also citizens of this country. And then leadership of this country stands to praise.
Senator Kenya.
Asante Bwana Spika kunipa fursa hii. Bwana Spika, laiti tungelifuata filosofia ya Nyayo ambayo inasema amani, upendo na umoja. Bwana Spika, umoja ni nguvu, utengano ni udhaifu. Bwana Spika, mazungumzo ni mazuri kwa sababu sisi sote tuko katika nchi yetu ya Kenya, Bwana Spika. Na haya mazungumzo yalianzwa na maseneta werendi sana, Bwana Spika. Unakumbuka Seneta Enoch Wambua wa kutoka Kitui na Seneta Wakili ambao walianzisha haya mazungumzo. Na msingi walioweka, Bwana Spika, laiti ni msingi huo ungetumiwa kwa sababu waliangazia mambo ambayo seneti hii, shida zinazopitiwa na seneti hii. Nafikiri hayo mazungumzo, Bwana Spika, yangeendeleza hayo maneno, Bwana Spika. Kwa sababu, Bwana Spika, ukisoma kitabu kitakatifu cha Mungu kinasema watu wakitembea wakiwa wengi wanaweza kwenda mbali. Mtu akitembea peke yake ataenda haraka, Bwana Spika, na atasulubiwa akiwa peke yake. Kwa hivyo ni vizuri vile ambavyo kuna haya mazungumzo, watu wazungumze. Lakini, Bwana Spika, kwa sababu mimi ni mfugaji, Bwana Spika, na ninajua ya kwamba ng'ombe yakishambuliwa na simba, Bwana Spika, ni vizuri kufuata simba, Bwana Spika, badala ya kuja kupambana na hawa inzi ambao wanafyonza damu ya yule ng'ombe aliyoachwa. Bwana Spika, sisi tunajua simba ni yupi, Bwana Spika, ambaye ameleta shida hizi, Bwana Spika. Na juzi tu mimi nimemsikia akisema ya kwamba akileta vitisho ya kuwa haya mazungumzo yakivurugwa watu watarudi katika maandamano, Bwana Spika. Sisi tunataka kukashifu hayo mambo, Bwana Spika, kwa sababu ikiwa watu wamekuja kwa mazungumzo, tunamheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka, Bwana Spika, tunamheshimiwa Ishongwa, Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, tunamheshimiwa kiongozi walio wengi katika seneti hii ambaye tunamuenzi na tunajua kwamba atafanya mambo ya busara katika haya mazungumzo. Lakini, Bwana Spika, ikiwa baada ya sisi kusema tumekubaliana watu waende katika mazungumzo, vitisho vinaanza, tutaenda katika maandamano, Bwana Spika. Na kila mtu anajua, Bwana Spika, shida zilizoko katika nchi hii ya Kenya, ni nani anayeleta hizi shida, Bwana Spika. Sisi tulikubaliana na watu tayari wakasonga mbele, Bwana Spika. Watu wakasonga mbele, uchaguzi ukafanywa, rais akatangazwa, lakini sasa, Bwana Spika, kuna vijisababu na vizigizio ya kwamba ati haya mazungumzo, Bwana Spika, yanaelekea kuanguka. Na Bwana Spika, mimi nikiangalia kwa ndani kabisa, nimemsikiza Mheshimiwa Mungatana, nikamsikiza Mheshimiwa Dulo, na hao ndio wamegonga dipo, Bwana Spika. Hakuna mahali ambapo kunasemekana ya kwamba mshindi akishinda, Bwana Spika, anapaswa kukaa chini aongee na wale wengine ambao waliwashinda.
Senator Shakila.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipatia hii fursa kuchangia huu mswada. Mheshimiwa Spika, naunga mkono huu mswada na nawapongeza viongozi kwa kukubaliana kukaa chini kuleta amani ya nchi ili nchi ipone. Mheshimiwa Spika, mazungumzo ni kitu muhimu sana. Lakini mazungumzo yanaweza kuharibiwa na wale ambao wako nje wanaochangia uchochezi. Mheshimiwa Spika, tunaomba hususan sisi viongozi tuache uchochezi. Tuache ile kamati ambayo imechaguliwa ifanye kazi yao, ilete ripoti yao ili ipate kujadiliwa, nchi ipone. Lakini tukianza uchochezi kabla hata mazungumzo hayajaanza, Mheshimiwa Spika, sioni kama tutafika kokote juu ya mazungumzo kama haya. Na jambo lingine Mheshimiwa Spika, tumeongelea sana hapo juu ya vitu kuharibiwa, watu kuuawa, lakini ukweli ni kwamba wale wanaoenda maandamano hawana silaha. Silaha zinakuwa na polisi. Kwa hivyo tunataka pia wale polisi ambao wamesababisha vifo wachukuliwe hatua, na wale ambao wameuawa pia wawe compensated, wafidiwe kwa yale mauaji ambayo yametokea kwa zile familia ambao wamepoteza wapendwa wao. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, haya mazungumzo tunaomba yawe ni mazungumzo ambayo yataleta natija kwa nchi, na isiwe ni yale mazungumzo ambayo tutarudi kwenye ile BBI ambayo ilifanyika last time. Tunaona pengine mazungumzo kama haya yakienda kuwa BBI, sioni kama kutakuwa na natija yoyote. Lakini tunaomba ni mazungumzo yao yataleta natija, yataponya nchi na yataleta umoja na nchi ipate kuendelea mbele. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
Senator Mundigi.
Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipa nafasi kuongea, kuchangia mazungumzo ambaye itakuwa ikiendelea kwa wale walichaguliwa watu 10 walio wengi na walio wachache. Yangu ni kidogo tu kusema itakuwa ni aibu kubwa sana kutoka miaka mingi, kila miaka 5 tukichaguana, walio wachache wakishindwa wanaenda kurusha mawe, wanaenda kuua watu, kufanya mambaya, halafu kila wakati yote wanakuja kusema tusemesane. Ingawa katika Biblia inasema watu wawili hawezi kutembea pamoja bila kuelewanwa, mimi naunga mkono, lakini nataka niseme mwaka wa 2027 tutaenda kwa uchaguzi. Nataka mjiandae, tukutane pale, hii itakuwa ni mambo ya mwisho. Nataka nimwambie pia, mnakumbuka katika Biblia Yesu alikuwa anatembea na Judas na kuridhika mpaka dakika ya mwisho. Kwa hivyo mkifikiria mtakuwa kila wakati yote mnajifanya kama Judas, mwaka wa 2027 mpaka tutawatimua mbio na mtarudia hivyo mpaka tutawatema. Ya pili, mnasema mambo ya kufungua sava. Ya tatu, mnasema mambo ya kuua. Mambo mingi mmesema na nyinyi mmeharibu. Hata mambo ya mvua mungeulizwa, hata mvua ingenyesha. Kwa hiyo niko na huzuni sana na nyinyi. Mvurundi, tusemesane, tusikie pamoja. Biblia iko juu, wacha mseme Biblia iko chini. Biblia iko juu, tutatembea pamoja ndio tuweze kuenda safari moja kwa hii kipindi ya miaka 5. Asante Bwana Spika, naunga mkono. Lakini sio ile ya Judas na Yesu.
Honorable Senators, the 1 hour is long spent. I will therefore call upon the mover to reply.
Mr. Speaker, I beg your attention. Mr. Speaker, I want to beg your indulgence because in replying, I know that I have 15 minutes to reply. Whether I'd been ordered to donate just 3 minutes to the 3.
So, Senator Cheptumo.
Just 1, 2, 2, 2.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Speaker, for donating those few minutes. Mr. Speaker, this motion intends to request the House to approve the dialogue committee. I want to support that motion, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, if you look at paragraph 6 of this motion, it talks about the mandate of this committee. Mr. Speaker, as we do all this, and I'm going to be very brief because of my time, as we approve the establishment of the dialogue committee and as established the mandate, Mr. Speaker, I think one issue, Mr. Speaker, we need to agree as a country and as a house is, as Mr. Speaker, we should never justify violence, Mr. Speaker, as we discuss issues. It appears to me, Mr. Speaker, that what is happening in the country today is we want to use violence to justify conversation and dialogue. Mr. Speaker, 2007, this country almost collapsed, and we used dialogue, and there was the Nusumgate government. In 2017, Mr. Speaker, the same situation, and we got the handshake. Again, Mr. Speaker, today, through violence, we have a conversation. My appeal to the committee, Mr. Speaker, is that we should put in place rules, laws, that is going to make it clear that after election, Mr. Speaker, and you lose an election, you should not perpetuate violence, so that again you justify to come back to discuss and share government that is intended to be done in this process, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I support.
Senator Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for affording me this opportunity. I also rise to support this motion. But of course, like those that have spoken before me have said, Mr. Speaker, we may want to urge this dialogue committee that will be formed that it should only discuss matters affecting Kenyans and not any particular individual, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, though dialogue is a good thing, but we may want to beseech all of us that you should have dialogue not only after elections, that dialogue should not be provoked through demonstrations and violence, Mr. Speaker, that we should be talking to one another as Kenyans, even when we do not have elections and even when we have not come out of elections. And Mr. Speaker, we must call out the hypocrisy from the Azimio side that only one election out of 6 is problematic all the time. It cannot be, Mr. Speaker, that all the other 5 elections, apart from the presidential election, are okay, but the presidential election is never okay, and thus demonstrations have to happen, and we are forced into a dialogue. So, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, let this dialogue committee not discuss anything else other than issues affecting Kenyans and not the leaders in Azimio of whichever side. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rest my case.
Senator Wamatenga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I was a bit worried, Mr. Speaker, when you called the mover to reply. Today in the morning, I set off from Nyeri very early to come and contribute to this debate. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would want to urge us sitting in this house, we were all elected. Mr. Speaker, sir, we know that it is important, yes, to have a conversation. But as important as it is to have a conversation, I would want to challenge ourselves moving forward. Now that we've agreed to embrace dialogue, we would want to see the minority side, when the CSs come here, sit down and listen and from their question. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is quite unfortunate. And I would want to urge the team that has been chosen to read this dialogue. In the last paragraph of their report, let us give us a formula that will ensure that Kenyans will no longer die on the streets because somebody has lost an election. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is indeed very deceptive. We know that the only genuine conversation is held every 5 years as envisaged by our Constitution. It is indeed very unfair to the Kenyans, to the taxpayers, in a country that is really struggling to make economic recovery, that we have subjected the taxpayers again into paying additional costs for making 10 people sit down, and some of the name. I wish so much, Mr. Speaker, sir. In the other list that I saw, Senator Wambua, who is a good debater who is a committed Christian, other than having somebody like Eunice Wamarwa, who you know that does not even qualify. And I would recommend in this house that we expunge the name of Eunice Wamarwa and replace that name with Senator Wambua, who we know is committed to delivering this country. Mr. Speaker, as I sit down, I would want to say that it is important that we have the right people in the right table so that we can move forward. Mr. Speaker, I support.
Senator Kamar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Leader of Majority, for giving me the 3 minutes. I want to join my colleagues in supporting the formation of the dialogue team. Mr. Speaker, this is not the first time this has happened in this country. I think we are a country that is created for dialogue. Mr. Speaker, there was IBBG during the Moi days, after 2007 elections, where I and you were elected. There was a session that had to bring the country together. We know very well, Mr. Speaker, that after the years of one-party system, Kenyans have not become a majority win. And it is very important that we recognize that so that we know that we are a country in diversity. It is therefore very important that we embrace something called dialogue always. Mr. Speaker, I support this, knowing also that we have a committee that should be proactive always. This committee called the Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity, and Regional Integration. Mr. Speaker, the National Assembly has a similar committee. It is not right that when we perform as our duties as an oversight body, that we don't converge to discuss these issues. I think the reason we are now seeking another dialogue session, which is in Parliament and outside Parliament, is partly because our committees are not being proactive. And I want to challenge the committees that they must be proactive, and when an issue arises, they should converge, and they should even allow public participation on an issue on a continuous basis. I'm happy personally that Parliament has been involved in this one. For this reason, I would like to encourage Mr. Speaker, yourself and the other speaker, that we become an oversight arm even of the current dialogue, so that we don't lose track. And whenever we find the committee is trying to lose track, we must discuss in this house and try to pull them together so that we complete in a better way. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Senator Mandago.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the motion of the formation of a dialogue committee and adoption of the names that have been given. But however, Mr. Speaker, with a rider on the discussions that are going to happen. Number one, Mr. Speaker, I think in this country, one of the things we must acknowledge and accept is that once elections have been done and there is a dispute and Supreme Court speaks itself of the matter, then that matter should be considered rested. Mr. Speaker, I think as a nation, one of the most important things this committee should not do is to accept and set a precedence that when you lose election, you can actually use violence to get back to discussion and be accommodated within government. Mr. Speaker, I don't think that is what our Constitution intended. We need to be progressive, and once you lose an election, accept the results. You can challenge or propose amendments, change of policies that will probably address some of the things that are required without necessarily causing violence in the country. Mr. Speaker, I also want to urge those who are going to sit in that discussion that the center of discussion should be things that affect Kenyans. We in Kenya Kwanza, Mr. Speaker, had already proposed, and I wish the Azimio side would have just graciously accepted our proposal, that we create an official opposition leader position within Parliament, Mr. Speaker, and that was within our plan as Kenya Kwanza. Mr. Speaker, after all this suffering and violence, after the loss of property by Kenyans, after loss of lives, finally the chicken have come home to roost, and Azimio now have accepted that we need to create the position of official opposition, which we proposed, and we thought it is extremely important, Mr. Speaker, that those in the opposition can also be heard in Parliament, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as we conclude the dialogue, I would also want to urge those who are going to discuss that the compensation of property destroyed must also be discussed. And I propose, Mr. Speaker, to those who are going to sit there, that the funds should be sourced from political parties that were involved in those losses, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I support.
Senator Abbas.
Speaker, I'm actually disappointed. You have been very selective, giving the members who went to talk. Actually, I'm really disappointed.
Senator Abbas, there's a dashboard.
My friend, it is not the first time or second time. It's actually happening in this place. They're very selective.
Proceed to make your contribution. Of course, I select who speaks.
We need dialogue in this house, actually, before we even go to other places. Okay, Honorable Speaker, have I said my issues?
Senator Cherengei, have a seat, please. Senator Bass, it is the duty of the Speaker to pick who to speak.
Mr. Speaker,
that cannot be questioned. Proceed.
Okay, Mr. Honorable Speaker, I support the motion on the formation of the dialogue committee. I think this is the most appropriate time. This country has actually had a lot of problems in the past and even today. As we proceed with the dialogue, I want to ask the committee members to be very focused, and they shall not be listening to other people outside the committee. And the committee must take the interest of Kenyans first. And one thing I want to tell the country is that actually leaders should allow the dialogue to continue without any interruption. Because you hear always a story that the dialogue between this bipartisan meeting is exercise in futility from top leaders, which is a very unfortunate situation. It should not happen. You hear that if it does not succeed, that we are going back to the street. That should not happen. Therefore, I think this country needs to heal. This country needs to come together. This country needs to move forward. We have had enough. Many Kenyans have died. Many Kenyans have lost their properties. And therefore, it is a time that we come back together and we focus together. And we don't want to any time, because this country has a rule of law. The Constitution has allowed elections to take place. And then every year of the cycle of elections, we have problems. This should not happen. The winner must also accommodate. The loser must accept to have lost. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sige, Wakili.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to also support the motion. And indeed, I rise to support the motion that has been moved by the leader of majority and seconded by the leader of minority. Speaker, speaking about dialogue, we hear peace, we hear reconciliation, we hear peacemaking, we hear conflict resolution. But, Mr. Speaker, far from the fact that we have got existing conflict, we are all aware of the fact that this country is also ruled by law, and it's a democratic state, that people went into elections sometimes in 2022, and a government was put in place. We, however, when we listen to the motion that has been placed before us, and also the framework that is being set by the team that is expected to continue the dialogue, we expect that the mandate of this particular committee is confined to the issues which are within that particular mandate. Mr. Speaker, I would like to support the motion in terms of institutionalizing the committee that will speak to the issues that have been raised prior by Kenyans. Remember, we previously had a committee that sat and engaged for a couple of weeks, leading to the current committee. And Mr. Speaker, it is listening to the move by the leader of majority. The issues that will be a subject of discussion before this committee are limited to developing reforms, facilitating dialogue, and bridging the differences between the two communities, which in this, the two political formations, Mr. Speaker, which in this case will ultimately allow the people of Kenya to allow the government of the day to execute on the mandate that was granted by the people in the election that was conducted in the year 2022. Mr. Speaker, I support this motion with those reservations, and I.
Now, honorable senators, I have 15 more senators wishing to contribute. We have long surpassed the 1 hour mark. The mover who is supposed to reply donated his reply time to the senators who are just allowed to make some contribution. I will therefore allow the mover under 1 minute, because that is what is left of you.
1 minute. Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank my colleagues who have taken time to comment on this very important exercise. You know, Mr. Speaker, as many shades of opinion have been expressed on this particular issue, that points to the task that is ahead of us. And we will try our best as a team to make sure that we move the country forward in this very difficult time. I appreciate each and every senator that has taken time to comment on this particular issue. Your concerns have been noted, and as we commence this exercise tomorrow, signing on the framework agreement, going through the agenda, Mr. Speaker, and begin the difficult work, Mr. Speaker, of moving the country to close ranks and move forward as a nation, we will be guided by the wisdom of all the senators that have spoken this afternoon. So I thank you and appreciate you, colleagues senators, for the time that you took. To those that didn't get an opportunity to speak, Mr. Speaker, my most sincere apologies. I'm sure we will find an opportunity again when we present the report before the House, Mr. Speaker, after 60 days, for them to comment and speak on it. With those very merited remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move. Thank you. To reply, sorry.
Honorable senators, I now proceed to put the question. Senator Cherengei, I call you to order, please. Aware that Article 1.1 of the Constitution provides that all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance with the Constitution. Further, aware that Article 1.2 of the Constitution provides that the people of Kenya may exercise their sovereign power either directly or through their democratically elected representatives, conscious that Article 10 of the Constitution espouses the national values and principles of governance, which include the rule of law, democracy, and participation of the people. Further, conscious that Article 94 of the Constitution provides that Parliament manifest the diversity of the nation, represent the will of the people, and exercise their sovereignty, recognizing that there is need to embrace consultation, dialogue, and consensus building as a way of resolving issues of concern to the people of Kenya, cognizant that despite the constitutional and legal reforms on the electoral processes and the electoral laws after every election cycle, there has been mistrust of electoral outcomes, leaving the country divided. Further, cognizant that efforts to enhance constitutionalism, the rule of law, and respect of human rights need to be promoted. Aware that there have been previous calls and attempts at building consensus on issues of concern to the people of Kenya through bipartisan engagement in Parliament, appreciating the need to establish an inclusive forum for dialogue, consultation, and consensus building, and seeking to promote the peace, stability, and prosperity of the country, acknowledging that the majority party in Parliament and the minority party in Parliament have agreed to embrace dialogue through the establishment of a National Dialogue Committee to recommend a way forward on issues of concern to the people of Kenya. Now, therefore, the Houses of Parliament resolve as follows: that the two Houses of Parliament establish a National Dialogue Committee consisting of 10 members to represent the Kenya Kwanza Alliance hereinafter Kenya Kwanza, a coalition constituting the majority part of Parliament of the Republic of Kenya, and Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition hereafter Azimio, a coalition forming the minority part of Parliament of the Republic of Kenya. That each coalition shall appoint 5 members to the National Dialogue Committee, that the membership of the National Dialogue Committee shall be drawn from Parliament and outside Parliament, that the National Dialogue Committee shall comprise the following members to represent Kenya Kwanza: the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, Delegation Leader; Governor Cecily Mbarire, Deputy Delegation Leader; Honorable Senator Aaron Cheriot, Honorable Hassan Omar Hassan, and Honorable Catherine Wabilianga. That the National Dialogue Committee shall comprise the following members to represent Azimio: the Honorable His Excellency Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, Delegation Leader, the Honorable Opio Wandayi, Deputy Delegation Leader, Honorable Amina Munyazi, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, and Honorable Senator Okongo Mogeni. That the mandate of the National Dialogue Committee shall be to facilitate dialogue and consensus building and to recommend appropriate constitutional, legal, and policy reforms on issues of concern to the people of Kenya to be framed by the National Dialogue Committee in line with the Constitution and the laws of the Republic of Kenya and respecting the functional and institutional integrity of state organs. The Houses of Parliament note that the technical teams representing Kenya Kwanza and Azimio shall support the National Dialogue Committee. That the technical team representing Kenya Kwanza shall comprise the following persons: Dr. Mudhomi Ithanokulu, Dr. Linda Musumba, Dr. Duncan Ojwang, and Nick Biketi. That the technical team representing Azimio shall comprise the following persons: the Honorable Jeremiah Kioni, Professor Adams Olo, Abakri Zain Abak, and Lynn Ngugi. That further, the National Dialogue Committee shall be assisted by 2 officers designated as communications secretaries, one of whom shall be appointed by leader of majority party and the other by the leader of the minority party. The Houses of Parliament further resolve that the National Dialogue Committee shall formulate and adopt a framework agreement to guide the bipartisan talks. That the National Dialogue Committee shall report to the leadership of Kenya Kwanza and Azimio coalitions within 60 days and thereafter submit its report to Parliament. That in the execution of its mandate, the National Dialogue Committee may invite, engage with and consider submission from stakeholders, collect views from the public, and engage experts, professionals, and other technical resource persons as necessary. That the National Dialogue Committee shall determine its own rules of procedure. That the speakers and clerks of both Houses of Parliament shall provide secretariat and any other necessary support to facilitate the work of the National Dialogue Committee. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 16 of 2023, second reading division.
Order, Senator Cherengei. Order, Senator Cherengei. Order. Senator Cherengei. Senator Cherengei, kindly, I call you to order. Senator Cherengei, have your seat, please. Kindly take your seat. Senator Cherengei, kindly take your seat. Take your seat. I will handle that. Senator Cherengei, take your seat. Senator Cherengei, you take your seat or I'll throw you out. Senator Cherengei. Senator Cherengei, take your seat. Take your seat. I'll handle that. I will handle that. Take your seat. Senator Cherengei, take your seat. I will handle your concerns. Take your seat. I will handle your concerns. Just take your seat. Senator Cherengei. Senator Cherengei, take your seat. Take your seat. Sergeant at arms. Sergeant at arms. Sergeant at arms. Senator Eddy, take your seat. Senator Cherengei, you take your seat or I'll order you to leave the chamber. Senator Cherangay. Senator Eddy, the chair is in control. Senator Eddy, kindly keep your cool. Senator Cherangay. Senator Cherangay, having prosecuted your concern, kindly take your seat. Senator Cherangay, for the very last time, I'm asking you to take your seat. Senator Cherangay, you're out of order. Kindly proceed to leave the chamber. Sergeant at Arms, escort the member out of the chamber. Pardon? I order you to leave the chamber for the remainder of this session, for the remainder of today's sitting. Sergeant at Arms, kindly use the necessary force under Standing Order 126 to get the senator out. Order, honorable senators. Order, honorable senators. Senator Mazayo, your utterances are totally out of order. You cannot call a colleague a kid. All the senators seated here are honorable senators. Kindly proceed to withdraw that statement, failure to which I will ask you to leave the chamber. Withdraw and apologize.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, nasikitika kwa matamshi niliyosema kwa ndugu yangu Cherargei. Ni bahati mbaya na mimi nataka kuyachukua niyaregeshe. Asante sana.
Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the division bell for 5 minutes. For just 2 minutes.
Well, the motion on the establishment of the National Dialogue Committee has just been completed, with majority of the members voting for its establishment. Apparently, it's a division bell for 2 minutes, as directed by the Speaker, Honorable Amason Kingi. What is currently on the floor of the House is the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, originating from the National Assembly, Bill number 16 of 2023, It is a bill that has been tabled by the Senate Majority Leader, Honorable Aaron Cheriot, and it's a bill that is at its second stage. Debate on this particular bill already took place in the floor of the House, and what will be happening now is that the members will be going into division to vote on this particular bill. And we understand the bill is also lined up to be considered at the committee of the whole House stage once the division stage has been done. A look at what exactly this bill entails is that this bill seeks to amend the Public Finance Management Act number 18 of 2012 to operationalize the public debt and borrowing with regard to the framework for monitoring the level of public debt to align it with the provisions of Article 214(2) of the Constitution, which defines public debt to mean all financial obligations attendant to loans raised or guaranteed and securities issued or guaranteed by the national government. So what is underway is a division bell, 2 minutes. As you can see, members are just grabbing a bottle of water to clear their throats, perhaps waiting to take the vote on this bill. Allow me to hand you over now for this process.
Kindly remove your delegate's card from the unit. Just move your card from the unit. Sergeant at arms, go around and pick the cards that are still in the delegate's unit. Sergeant at arms, if you're done collecting the cards, kindly give me a signal. Sergeant at arms, are we ready? Good. Now, honorable senators, kindly log back into the delegates unit and vote by pressing yes, no, or abstain. And the voting is hybrid. We will also allow those who've joined us online to also take part in the voting. Log back and proceed to vote. Voting starts now. Senator Mario. Honorable Senators, kindly take your seats so that we report the vote. Honorable Senators, the vote for the division is as follows. Ayes 31, noes 0, abstentions 0. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Public Finance Management Act and for connected purposes.
Next order. Sergeant at Arms, kindly open the doors and withdraw the bars.
Order number 10, Committee of the Whole, the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 16 of 2023.
Honorable members, we are now on the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 16 of 2023. We have got a few amendments, and I will request that honorable members please remain in the chamber because we will need to go for division. We will not be long. Thank you.
So we will start clauses 3, 4, and 5.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clauses 3, 4, and 5 be part of the bill. And I put the question that clauses 3, 4, and 5 be part of the bill. Division at the end.
Clause 6.
Honorable members, I propose that I propose the question that clause 6 be part of the bill. I also ask the chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget, to move the amendment.
Thank you, Chair.
I do propose that the amendment on clause 6 be amended as indicated in the order paper. And Mr. Chair, as per our deliberations in the committee, the clause 6 that we seek amendment does indicate the issue that talks about the exceptional circumstances, that I want to indicate that this is an issue that we really sought advice from the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Treasury, in regards to at what point exceptional circumstances will make the minister be able to effect and be able to determine the percentage as per the GDP. And Mr. Speaker, this was well expounded, and hence that is why we seek the amendment to be done. And the other issue, Mr. Speaker, is on the issue of the National Assembly not being the only house. This is a bicameral assembly. Mr. Chair, can I be heard in silence?
Honorable members, Senator Lelengwe. Senator Lelengwe, kindly take your seat. Give Senator Tabitha time to prosecute the amendments. Senator Manzo, take your seat. Resume your seat, Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And we also noted as a committee that this amendment was only in regards to the issue of the debt status of this country. It was only to be discussed at the National Assembly, but our amendment also proposed that Senate be part of tabling of this report as far as the debt status of this country is concerned. So both houses shall be receiving these two reports every 30th April of every year, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Chair.
I now propose the question that clause 6 be amended as proposed, and put the question that clause 6 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 2.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill, and put the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Division at the end.
The title and clause 1.
Honorable members, I propose the question that the title and clause 1 be part of the bill, and put the question that the title and clause 1 be part of the bill. Division at the end. Honorable members, we're now getting into divisions. We are going to conduct electronic voting, and I'll request that honorable members be prepared. There will be two questions at the committee in this division. The first question is on clause 6, and the second question is on 3, 4, 5, 6. The third one will be at the third reading. Honorable members, I now put the question that clause 6 be amended as proposed. Sergeant at Arms, could you please ring the quorum bell for 2 minutes?
Well, two amendments, or rather just a few amendments, had been brought forth on the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill 2023, Bill number 16 of 2023, originating from the National Assembly, which is currently at the Committee of the Whole House stage on the floor of the Senate this afternoon. And the amendments have already been moved, and
Honorable members, I advise that you log out from the system. let's log out and log in before voting starts. And Sergeant at Arms, you may collect the unattended cards. You may now log in. Kindly log in. Honorable members, I now put the question that Clause 6 be amended as proposed. Voting starts now. Senator Cheptumo, Senator Mariam, proceed to the dispatch desk. Honorable members, we now move to the next question that is on all clauses, and I put the question that Clause 3, 4, 5, Clause 6 as amended, Clause 2, the title, and Clause 1 be part of the bill. Members, you may now proceed to vote on those questions. Yes, voting starts now. Proceed to vote. Senator Mariam, proceed to get assisted to vote. Honorable members, these are the results of divisions under clause 6. Ayes 31, nays 0. The ayes have it. And honorable members, the results of the second division, ayes 31, nays 0, abstentions 0. The ayes have it. Now, honorable members, I now call upon the mover, Senator Tabitha, to move the amendments. Senator Tabitha, proceed. To move the report of the committee, sorry, to move the report of the committee. Sergeant at Arms, you may just hold for a few minutes, just hold for a second.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that the committee do report to the Senate its consideration of the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly number 16, and its approval, therefore, with amendments.
Honorable members, I now put the question that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 16 of 2023, and its approval thereof with amendments. With as many as of that opinion say aye. With as many as of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Members, we have one more vote to make. So, yeah, do what you are pretending to do. So, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to report, Honorable Speaker, that the Committee of the Whole has considered the Public Finance Management Amendment Bills, National Assembly Bills number 16 of 2023, and seeks leave to sit again tomorrow. Sorry, Mr. Speaker, this is a...
Sorry, can you approach the table kindly?
Mr. Speaker, I withdraw my earlier report, and Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole has considered the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, National Amendment Bills number 16 of 2023, and its approval thereof with amendments.
Thank you.
I thank you.
Very well. Mover. Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee of the said report. And I call...
Yeah, who is your second?
I call Senator Eddie Okech to second.
Is he aware that he is to second?
Mr. Speaker, as a proud member of the Committee of Finance, I do second.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Eddie. I propose the question that the House do agree with the committee in the same report. I put the question that the House do agree with the committee in the same report. As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. As those of the contrary opinion say nay. Okay, move again.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly number 1623, be now read at that time. I still ask Senator Eddie Okech to second.
Senator Okech.
Mr. Speaker, I do second.
Thank you. Honorable Senators, I propose the question that the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 16 of 2023, be now read at that time. I put the question that the Public Finance Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 16 of 2023, be now read at that time. We have division again. Last one. Ring the column bell for 1 minute. Or the shortest time that you can be able to do it. Let's set the system light for voting. Sitting the members, can you kindly vote? Proceed and vote. Senator Mariam, approach the table. Senator Romenen, approach the table still. Senator Romenen, I think your vote was not taken. So approach the secretariat. Honorable Senators, let me give the results of the division. The ayes, that 1, nays, 0, abstention, 0. So the ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Public Finance Management Act and for connected purposes.
Honorable Senators, I want to thank you most sincerely for finding your time to come to the Senate today. I know you are very busy indeed in other areas of jurisdiction. So, Senators, Honorable Senators, can you open the doors kindly? So, Honorable Senators, there being no other business on the order paper, the Senate stands adjourned until Tuesday, 5th September 2023 at 2:30 p.m. It is so ordered.